Coming up on Vegas Nation Gameday, NFL Week 7 is here and the Raiders are ready.
We know what we're capable of. We didn't win as many games as we thought we would at this point. We know that we're close, and again, we've always said this, close doesn't count.
Raiders fast takes and smart coverage coming up right now on Vegas Nation Gameday.
Powered by the Las Vegas Review-Journal, this is Vegas Nation Gameday, presented by D&R House of Diamonds, making luxury affordable. Located in the One Summerlin building in downtown Summerlin.
Welcome in, football fans, to Vegas Nation Gameday. I'm your host, Cassie Soto, joining you from Raiders headquarters. The Silver and Black will get back on the field this week after their bye, and will look for their second win of the season over the Houston Texans on Sunday. Let's go ahead and get to our opening drive, brought to you by Capriotti's. Make your game day extraordinary with Capriotti's. Order now. Raiders beat writer Vinny Bonsignore here with me now. Vinny, this of course is going to be the Raiders' first game after the bye week. How important will it be for them to set the tone, get a win on Sunday and set that tone for what's going to be a very long season ahead?
Cassie, I'm using the desperation word. I think the Raiders are in desperation mode right now. They're not going to say that. They're not going to, act that way, but they have to be. On desperation mode or in desperation mode, they have to win this game, or else 1-5. Sorry, the math doesn't work from that point on. They got to get on the right track. It's got to be against the Houston Texans this week, and it's more about the Raiders than it is the Texans. Not taking anything away from the Texans, and the Raiders have to approach them with respect. But that respect needs to be displayed in playing a good, solid football game from beginning to end. That's how you respect your opponent, and if the Raiders do that, and execute accordingly, they should win this game pretty handily. But it's the Raiders. They're 1-4. We don't know what to expect on Sunday.
Well, let's talk about their opponent, the Houston Texans, obviously coming into town with a 1-3-1 record. But it's hard to ignore the weird similarities between these two teams, Vinny. The Texans have not been blown out in their losses. Their losses have come by 10 points or less. When you look at the Texans, again, let's dive in here. What is the biggest challenge they're going to pose for the Raiders?
Well, interestingly, their record is, or the closeness of their losses is because they play really good defense, their offense not so much. The Raiders, on the other hand, are playing pretty good offense, not so much on the defense. So while there are similarities, they've gone about it in a little bit of a different way. So I say that to say this, the challenge that they pose is a stiff defense that the Raiders are going to have to get figured out, a good running game with their rookie running back. So, but again, it's nothing against the Houston Texans, but the Raiders have to be focused on themselves. If they could clean up what they have been, the shooting themselves in the foot, the silly penalties, some of the miscommunication, some of the lack of execution, two wide receivers running into each other in a key moment, Darren Waller has dropped a couple of passes. If they can eliminate those mistakes, they should win handedly. But until they do, we're going to be, again, wondering which Raider team is going to show up, and can they do it? Could the good Raiders play a four-quarter game, both offensively and defensively?
Yeah, which Raiders team showing up, and which Raiders offense, right, Vinny? Are you surprised that at this point in the season, Josh Jacobs has gotten as much burn as he has, almost 500 yards on the season? In the preseason, and when they got a guy named Davante Adams, everyone thought this offense was going to be down the field, big plays from Derek Carr to Davante Adams, but it's really been Josh Jacobs these last few games. Is that surprising? And more importantly, is that sustainable?
Well, it's actually been Josh and Davante. Yeah. They've kind of played off of each other, and that's a good thing. Some of the long passes are the result of being able to run the ball. And then also, when you have to defend the long pass, it opens things up for the run game. So we kind of felt like that could happen. Here's what was surprising. The fact that Josh Jacobs has been basically a one-man show at running back. I think everyone assumed, based on the roster construction, they had 5 running backs on the roster. Oh, they're going to go by a running back by committee. Maybe that was the plan coming in. But Josh Jacobs has said, no thanks. No, nothing. I'm not interested in any kind of committee. I got this. And so far he has. Now, it's something to monitor because he has shown a tendency over the years to sort of falter a little bit or get injured. It's nothing major, but it's enough to keep him out of a series or a game sometimes or a half. So you got to keep an eye on that because you don't want to overuse him. And if it gets to a point where he's starting to show some wear and tear, then you have a pretty healthy and energized Zamir White, who hasn't been used a lot, to come in and give him some relief. I expect that to happen sometime down the road, but right now it's the Josh Jacobs show.
So back to that desperation word. How desperate, I would say, are the Raiders for this win on Sunday?
I'm going to use the M word, Cassie. It's a must-win for the Raiders, and they have to win. They've got to win this game because, again, 1-5, especially losing to a team that you should beat at home coming off a bye week, that would be demoralizing. So in order to avoid the D word, demoralizing, and also, maybe letting the whole season just slip through your grasp, the Raiders got to get a win this week.
They're looking for that W.
They are. The W word.
Flip the Field, brought to you by South Point Sports. Download the app at southpointsports.com. It's Heidi Fang here with Ed Graney, our Review Journal sports columnist, and it's time to flip the field, looking at the Houston Texans, a 1-3-1 team, Ed. This is a team, though, that has been very stingy when it comes to red zone defense. What do you think about what they've done so far and how they've managed inside the 20?
Yeah, well, listen, Heidi, the Texans have held opponents in the red zone to 38.8%. That's why they're limiting people to under 20 points a game. They're really, really good in the red zone. We know the Raiders are not good in the red zone offensively. This could be a major problem this week with as good as Houston is stopping people inside the 20-yard line. They have defensive backs who get their hands on the ball. They get a good rush going, and I think Derek Carr and the offense over the bye week better have come up with some things to do in the red zone, because Houston's red zone defense has been terrific. Like I said, 38.8% people are scoring touchdowns. That's the 5th best in the league. And when we talk about Stingley, he's played a significant role in helping that out, getting his hands on the balls. He had a key interception against the Jaguars. He's had 5 knockdowns by passes. 3 of them have come in the red zone. So I'll tell you what, between Stingley and the rest of that Houston defense, they do a great job stopping people inside the 20-yard line. It's going to be a significant issue for the Raiders.
Ed, this is a team that's building its future upon some young players, including Dameon Pierce, their running back, and then you also have on the defensive side of the ball, Derek Stingley Jr. What have you made of these 2 players and their impact with the Houston Texans?
Yeah, Derek Stingley's having a great year, but you know who else? Pierce, as you said. Dameon Pierce has 115 scrimmage yards on average since week 3. Think about that, 115 yards. Think about all this. The Raiders ranked 22nd in yards allowed and 28th in points allowed. This could be a hard stop for the Raiders here. They gave up 107 yards from scrimmage in terms of Derrick Henry and Austin Eckler, and against Kansas City, 100 scrimmage yards from Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Jerick McKinnon combined. So this is going to be a big issue for the Raiders if they let Dameon Pierce get going here. He's been great since week 3. The Raiders have to do a better job stopping the run, and if they do, they're going to have a better chance of winning. But yeah, Dameon Pierce, Stingley, all those young guys for the Texans can really make a lot of plays and make life difficult for Raiders defense that, let's be honest, has not been great to this point.
Darren Waller officially headlines the Raiders injury report for this week against the Texans. I'm Adam Hill. Waller officially ruled out by the Raiders on Friday. He will miss the game. He suffered a hamstring injury early in the game against the Chiefs, was not able to return, only played 8 snaps in that game. There was some optimism he'd be able to come back, but he was not able to practice at all this week, and he will officially miss the game. Some real concern among the pass catchers for the Raiders because Hunter Renfrow and Mac Hollins are both questionable for this game with injuries. Hunter Renfrow suffered that hip injury this week. He says, hey, it's minor, I'm good to go, but he is officially listed as questionable after missing a practice this week. Looks like he's trending in the right direction. Mac Hollins has been limited all week with a heel injury. He looks to be trending in the right direction as well, but both those guys questionable really puts some strain on that receiving core if somebody is to go down during the game with all those guys already missing and Waller out of this game already at the tight end position. Jayon Brown, the only guy on defense with any kind of injury designation. He is questionable for this game, but he's also been able to practice quite a bit this week, so it looks like he's trending in the right direction as well. Coming off that bye week, which the Houston Texans had as well, they are relatively healthy, only one real injury on this team and nothing of real significance. So Houston comes in fairly healthy. The Raiders, except for Darren Waller, fairly healthy as well. That's what bye weeks will do. With this week's injury report, I'm Adam Hill.
D&R House of Diamonds is Las Vegas's elite private office jeweler, the perfect bridge between internet pricing and a traditional brick-and-mortar jewelry store. We specialize in loose diamonds, natural and lab-grown, engagement rings, fashion jewelry, custom design, and jewelry repairs. We operate by appointment in our beautiful offices in the One Summerlin building, downtown Summerlin. Our great relationships with the world's largest diamond wholesalers and our low overhead saves you hundreds, if not thousands, on your purchase.
With Capriotti's, game day is always extraordinary. Fuel your passion with our award-winning cheesesteaks, in-house oven-roasted turkey, and classic subs. Or create a fan frenzy with our catering trays that are perfect for any crew. At Capriotti's, we deliver extraordinary to you.
Listen to the Vegas Nation podcast 3 times a week, featuring Vinny Bonsignor and Sam Gordon to kick off the week with First and 10. In the middle of the week, catch Heidi Fang's takeaways, and rounding out the week on Fridays is Ed Graney and Adam Hill with Unsportsmanlike Conduct. Subscribe to the podcast and check them out as well on VegasNation.com and the Vegas Nation app, all powered by the Las Vegas Review-Journal. Vegas Nation, fast takes, smart coverage.
Perhaps there's no remedy better for an ailing defense than an appointment with an ailing offense. That's exactly what the Raiders have Sunday when they welcome the Houston Texans to Allegiant Stadium. Through 5 games, the Raiders are among the NFL's worst defensive teams, allowing 26 points per game to rank 28th among the 32. Their red zone defense is even worse, ranking dead last by allowing touchdowns on 82% of opposing drives that reach the Raiders' 20-yard line. The Raiders also rank second to last in takeaways, sporting a mere 3 in 5 games after ranking 30th last year in the same category. They're 28th in sacks per game and 31st in passer rating allowed, as opposing quarterbacks are totaling a mark of 106.7. Those fortunes, however, could change against an offense ranking 26th in scoring at 17.2 points per game. What's more is Houston's total offense, ranking 30th in yards by averaging 291.2 per game. Even worse is Houston's third down offense, converting 29.3% of the time to best only the Carolina Panthers. But the Texans, to their credit, don't give the ball away, ranking 5th in fewest takeaways by averaging only 1 per game, to tie with the Raiders. Will the Raiders' defense find its way, or will Houston's offense win the day? We'll find out Sunday. I'm Sam Gordon, and that's the story by the numbers.
For a look at this week's betting lines, let's hear from sports betting columnist Todd Dewey.
Thanks, Cassie. This game shapes up as a showdown between the pros and the Joes, as bettors call it, meaning professional sports bettors are on one side and recreational sports bettors, or average Joes, are on the other side. In this case, the pros are on the Texans and the Joes are on the Raiders. The Raiders opened as 7-point favorites in this one, and the line hasn't moved. Both teams have been in every game with only one win each to show for it, and they're both coming off byes. Pro bettor who wagered on Houston told me it's just too many points to pass up, though he thinks the Raiders will probably win the game, just not cover. Last time the Raiders were favored by 7 or more was in 2019 when they were still in Oakland. They're only 9-10 against spread at Allegiant Stadium. Total is 45.5, and most of the money is on the over. The Raiders are one of the only 5 NFL teams with more overs than unders this season at 3-1-1. This game starts a stretch of 7 winnable games for the Raiders. And those who believe that they can make a run and get back to the playoffs this season can bet on that prop at William Hill, where it pays plus 280.
That'll do it for this week's episode of Vegas Nation Game Day. Once again, the Raiders are set to host the Houston Texans at Allegiant Stadium for a Week 7 matchup. Kickoff is set for 1:05 p.m. For more Raiders news up until then, head on over to VegasNation.com. For our entire crew, I'm Cassie Soto. Have a great weekend.
Powered by the Las Vegas Review-Journal, this is Vegas Nation Game Day. Presented by D&R House of Diamonds, making luxury affordable. Located in the One Summerlin building in downtown Summerlin.